it was green. All the seats were green, and a bit plush and plump, and we used to. Yeah. Were you with Mother here?
Yeah. Yeah, we used to come sometimes when we were catching the train. You know, we used to sometimes go back and forth with Mother. Yeah. We'd have cucumber sandwiches, tea.
Cucumber sandwiches and.
Well, I don't think we came that often.
It's so strong in my mind, even if it was once.
Yeah.
Like everything.
I don't remember being with Shri Mataji. I remember being with her in McDonald's, just on the other side, because I had some sort of, moment where I was saying, wow, God is drinking Coca-Cola. I was just.
I had the same thing, the same sort of vision as you at Ashley Gardens. Their mother was moving in, to Ashley Gardens, and she sent the lad out for a fish for a McDonald's.
Yeah, that's true.
We all had that, the McDonald's moment, I think. It was quite...
And Mother was so unconventional, because you know how she thinks about alcohol, right? Right? Yeah. And I remember there was this worker, he's an English worker, who worked with her. And she, and she gave him a bottle of black Chivas Regal, which is a rather good brand of whiskey. No? And she gave it to him because that's what was going to make him happy at that point. So she was.
When she left Firth Green, there were a load of guys from when she left Firth Green, there were a load of guys who were doing removal stuff for her, and when they left with the stuff they were taking away, on the table there were about 8 or 10 bottles of either Shifts Regal or some other Scots whiskies, for them to have one each.
She gave them one each, and when the boss found out, he was horrified.
Yeah.
And you could already hear singing coming from the back of the...
because that was supposed to be gifts for diplomats, no? And Mother,
Or when she gave the cigars to the ladies.
Also.
She called us all to come and help. She was inviting all the ladies from the surrounding houses. We were coming to be the English people. And one of them asked if she could smoke, so Mother offered her a really good Havana cigar. And you could see this woman didn't know, torn between wanting to look cool and accept it, but knowing that there's no way she could smoke a cigar. So like Mother just called her bluff completely. And she sort of said, no, thank you, that's fine.
Well, Gus told me that because he was present at one of their diplomatic get-togethers at the house. He said neither CP nor Mother seemed to have any concept of what alcohol did to people, because they just kept filling up people's glasses as fast as they drank them. And they were just doling it out in all of it. They seemed to have no idea, especially CP.
But, it's actually, alcohol is actually a weapon in diplomatic circle, and I saw it in China, because in China they have a very strong alcohol, and they make you drink because at some point you can't handle it, and then, you are more vulnerable. No, I remember that's one time when I was full of sympathy for Pat, because that was one of the tests in your life, because I think at some point Shri Mataji told you to pour the the bottles of. I still remember that because I thought, gee, this is going to be tough for him.
Oh, it was.
He was supposed to. Yeah, he was brave, but he was brave from the moment when Mother told the people in Gavin's home, you should drop drugs, and the feeling, and you put it in your book, the feeling in the group was, no way. And then Pat said, okay, I'll do it. And I remember that.
Well, you remember, really?
I remember that. Yeah.
Because that was the only time I saw you, I think, until we went to India.
To Kathmandu, yeah.
Well, we met in Mumbai first, and then we went off.
That was the only time because you stayed with Mother and we didn't see
Okay.
you. That.
That was the first.
This is when I had this ridiculous white clothes, or not? No,
I don't remember
you
that.
don't remember that.
I just remember you sort of on your knees in front of Mother saying, "Forgive them, they know not what they do," or something. Worse than that.
No, it was true.
I know, it was very dramatic. But you were the only one taking her side. None of the others were. They were just frozen.
Yeah, but I remember when he said, "I will stop," it was like, paf, something turned, the tables turned, because the group was really
They're
not
very hostile.
Yeah, they were not taking the message. I was telling Francis about this white clothes because Shri Mataji. I'll repeat what I was just telling you, because Shri Mataji told me we're going to see the yogis, and when I came from the US, I had an American Army jacket and jeans, and that's the way I knocked at the door, and the American Army jacket was torn. So I said, "Oh my God, we're going to meet the yogis." So I went and I brought a sort of Elvis Presley. Elvis Presley white cloth, and on top of it, I don't know, I must have been out of my mind, a red bow, And I arrived in this room. We climbed the staircase together, and I look at the room. So I took my bow out. I couldn't take the clothes off, obviously. But, Mother made fun of me for this for quite some time. And that was. But the yogis, you're going to meet the yogis. My God, the yogis.
They were a very wild bunch.
Yeah.
There was only one or two there that were. Even they were very new. But the whole room was full of the whole local crowd, I saw them all and I thought, oh my God, what's going to happen here? So they were quite a bunch.
It was only about the second or third time.
It was, my second or third time. Was that during the trip you came over from America?
Yeah.
In the first place? So, to meet Mother at the first...
No, because you met her earlier.
Did you meet her earlier than that, or was that a second trip to see her, or was it the first trip?
No, that's not the first trip. It must be the second one. I think it's around the 20th of August 1975.
Right.
Yeah.
It was the 15th of September.
When we first came? Yeah. Oh, so it must have been the second.
Oh, you came after me?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you came before.
No.
So that meeting is after then,
Yeah, so that was my third.
Yeah, because we'd already been down.
Well, I might have been as well. No, that was before. Because I got lost, you remember? Because I stopped. Well, I put it in the book. I stopped then, and then I missed. I was trying to help this wretched Ignatius to come to Mother's house, and he didn't turn up, and I failed to make it. I got lost, so I went off the wagon spectacularly that weekend.
I remember going round there and you were singing "What a Difference a Day Makes."
Yeah, it was a bit feeble, but I was in such a state.
I know. Well, but the thing was, it meant so much to you to miss it. Even then, you understood what you missed. That was.
But I had a bit. What I had. What is sweet, but I cannot tell you when. But what is sweet is we pretty soon had a feeling of brothers and sisters. And I remember my feeling towards. That's a bit later now, but towards Marie Rouget. Because at some point in the corridor, CP had just arrived, and I was always anxious that we behave correctly, because after. And I remember Marie was sort of crying on the shoulder of Shri Mataji before CP. And I was feeling so embarrassed, but I was feeling embarrassed as it is my own sister, who doesn't know. So from that feeling, otherwise I would have said, what is she doing? But my embarrassment was my own sister doesn't know it's not time to do this before, the husband of Shri Mataji. So we gelled together pretty fast, I feel.
Oh, we were such an odd mixture, I just couldn't believe it.
I know.
There was this hope of the world in this kind of group of strange people.
In Earth Green, I don't remember many things, but in Earth Green I remember Shri Mataji putting all her shoes on the table. Who remembers that? Or many shoes on the table. You don't remember that?
I don't know how much has been for you.
But you must have been there. Shri Mataji put, I don't know, X pairs of shoes on the table, and we were around with our hands, because we asked us to put our hands towards the shoes. You remember? And we were looking so stoned, you know. And I was looking at the scene, I said, right, now we have to change the world with this bunch. And we're looking, you know, around the pairs of shoes and taking, you know, and we didn't know actually what it was to take vibration from.
Well, Pat was saying that Mother told him that she had tried speaking to a politician.
Well, lots of them. She tried in her own circles, you know, and got nowhere. It was
the
William
reaction,
Whitelaw, wasn't it? She was, who was then the Home Secretary, and she was speaking to him at a dinner party, and was talking to him about, you know, how we must change society. And he literally turned around and said, well, why? You know, what's wrong with it?
Well, now we would have the answer.
Yeah.
But even so, you see, if you're rich and okay, in his view, he'd say, well, his life was fine. It was, you know, the other people's problem. So, you know, that's when Mother said she had to start looking at other people, because she tried with the people that didn't have the huge deficit that we had.
This is really the experience I had, because at some point we were in Dehradun, and we gave realization to a gentleman who was at that time called Joshi, and he was the chief of staff of the Indian Army, the top soldier. And we were in his thing, and you know, at some point he didn't really feel the vibration. And then I asked him, you know, ask Shri Mataji, are you Shri Durga? And because Durga is the goddess of the warriors, right? And he asked the picture, and then I saw tears coming out of his eyes, you know. And then I said, gee, what is the difference? You know, this is the general-in-chief of the army, and here, you know, you would be.
There's nothing
no,
to
it would
be equivalent. But there's no equivalent for them. They don't have to respect.
Yeah, but it's not only England, okay, it's the West. All the guys who are somewhere up the ladder in our countries just had too much ego, you know.
Yeah.
So we were very happy to have a few doctors. When David showed up, he was still a student.
Bogdan had given up being a doctor, working in a factory.
Was working in a factory.
Yeah.
He'd given up. He lost confidence in being a
I
doctor.
remember him telling you, actually, no, I'm not doing that
Spent too
anymore.
long in Goa on the beach and stoned out of his mind.
But I mean, to him, he could see it was a complete waste of time.
I don't know what, I think it was quite that straightforward.
He wrote his book for all the stone heads of the world, and
Yeah, well, I have to try and find a few now. Did you notice I spelt the first word in the book wrong? Forward.
no idea.
Yeah, it was spelt forward as in
Cringes
forward
every
home.
time you remember.
It should be, you know, word. That's the word before.
Yeah.
But I spelt it forward as in going down.
The proofreader missed it.
Everyone missed it, so there's no way I could promote it with that, because it would just be ridiculed by, you know, anyone who wasn't a yogi.
But you know, when I read, because your parents were administrators in Hong Kong, and this was a generation of doers. They were a solid generation. It's like the father of Brian was a wing captain in the Royal Air Force or whatever. And you know, I read a book when I was in the US who inspired Newt Gingrich and Al Gore, and it's America, a Story of Generation. And what they say, and I think it applies to you, is that because the generation of our parents were such solid people, that generation who did, you know, who defeated Hitler, who built the Bretton Woods institution, ingenious, no-nonsense, solid people. And because of them, we had the guts to seek, you know. And today, you know, people who throw stones in Brixton or wherever, they don't seek because their parents didn't give them any, you know, any strength. Yeah.
Yeah, we took our mum to Cabela 2 weeks ago.
Your mum?
She's 92.
Yeah.
And she's so quiet and unassuming. And you know what she said? This place is another world. And she's been a Catholic all her life, but she said it's amazing. It's so peaceful. So she's got her blessings, you know.
Your dad is still...
You know, he
No, he
died.
passed away. He had a hard time because of his drinking. You know. But
He
you know,
recognised Mother.
well, he did. But you know what happened?